morning, or afternoon. Whatever time is you're in, we are welcoming you to the fourth webinar for the Scholarship Bootcamp. My name is Faith Peter, and I am your moderator for today. I'll be going right into introducing our guests for today, guys. I am excited about them. So today we are going to be discussing about the Erasmus Mundus success stories, lessons from scholarship winners, and we have two amazing scholars, right? Okay, so we have Mr. Iyola. I'm going to be reading his bio. Guys, you know how we do this. So you're going to be showing me some activities, some excitement in the charts, okay? So please start showing me the excitement while I'm reading this. Mr. Iyola is currently a researcher at the University of Oxford, a first-class graduate of microbiology from the University of Ilorin, Nigeria. He is the recipient of the prestigious Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree Scholarship for both the Infectious Disease and One Health program and the leading international vaccinology education program. You guys see how I am pronouncing these things carefully because the programs are amazing, right? Passionate about mentorship and leadership, he served as the American Society for Microbiology, ASM, Young Ambassador to Nigeria in 2021 to 2023, delivering professional development training to bioscience students and early career scientists. He has also contributed to the ASM Young Leaders Circle Advisory Board and the ASM Microbiology Leap Task Force. His work and impact have earned him notable recognitions, including being named a 2022 West Africa Rhodes Scholarship finalist, receiving the 2023 Diana Award for contributions to One Health research and AMR advocacy, and the 2024 ASM Young Ambassador Excellence Award. Guys, he has co-authored multiple publications and presented at both national and international conferences. If you're not too busy, can you just give us one word, maybe exclamations, show some excitement, because I am really amazed. You know, every time that we have a scholar up here, there's always something really amazing about them, right? And see, we're seeing first class everywhere. Amazing. So I'm going to be introducing our next speaker for today. She's Rafiat Akinokun. I hope I pronounced that right. She's a graduate of nursing science from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Nigeria, and was awarded both the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship and the Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship. She chose the Erasmus Mundus Excellence Scholarship, a fully funded award for a double master's in public health at the University of Sheffield and Maastricht University in Netherlands. Speaking engagements include notable global platforms such as International Council of Nurses Congress in 2021, the World Innovation Summit for Health in Doha 2022, the Global Health Landscape Symposium 2022 also in Washington, and the Women Deliver Conference 2023 in Kigali, that is in Rwanda. In 2020, she was selected as a Women Deliver Young Leader, dedicating her efforts to addressing the impact of HIV on adolescent girls and young women. In 2021, when she was recognized as an immunization advocacy champion, by the Nursing Now Challenge and the Sabin Vaccine Institutes. I believe that we are already excited to meet them, so I'll be welcoming our speaker for today. Hello, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind introduction.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed.
Yeah.
You're welcome, sir.
So as I was introduced, my name is Iola, and currently I'm a DPhil student at the University of Oxford. So DPhil is just Doctor of Philosophy, where other universities call it PhD. And currently doing a DPhil in clinical medicine with a focus on cancer vaccines. And it's a pleasure to be here today. So today we'll be talking about the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, in which I completed last year. I got the award for two programs, the Infectious Disease and One Health program, but and also for the leading international vaccinology education program as well. But I decided to go for the vaccinology masters. My passion is really at the intersect, or was at the intersect of infectious disease and vaccines, um, mostly providing vaccines for pathogens that are difficult to treat. But right now, currently working on cancer, but still in the area of vaccines as well. Um, so I'll just briefly, so the topic for today is Erasmus Mundus success stories, lessons from scholarship winners. And I would be sharing my own personal experience on how I got the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So, but I'll just have to start from the scratch. So when I finished the university as an undergraduate student, studied microbiology at the University of Lorraine, and then I I was really confused about what path to go, to be honest. So when you finish school, you actually start thinking of, "Oh, what next should I do about my life?" And I had that same confusion. But I had a couple of options. I knew what I was interested in. I knew I was interested in medical research, but this is something that is quite difficult to accomplish in Nigeria as a microbiologist. I know microbiology students will know this. So I was like conflicted. Should I do medicine or should I, travel abroad to study something that'll be within the purview of medical microbiology, maybe in the area of infectious diseases or in the area of vaccines. So I was like exploring options towards getting scholarships, um, in different contexts. But I really didn't know a lot about scholarships apart from the fact that had graduated with a first class, and I knew that was important to have good academic excellence, which I'll be sharing some slides on the importance of having academic excellence. But I also knew that getting a scholarship goes beyond having academic excellence. It also, boils down to, having like a very clear interest about what you're passionate about, also like exploring like having work experience. So this can be volunteering, this can be internships. It also boils down to having some research experience as well. So it's very relevant to build your research capacity. It's something that we've already started right from our undergraduate education through the undergraduate seminar that we do, and also through our undergraduate thesis, the original research and projects that we do in our final year. But it's really important to build these capacities, especially if you're interested in doing, a research-based master's or a PhD. And also, it's also important to, achieve like, good accolades in your field. So go for conferences. If possible, you can present your research at these conferences. So I was doing all of these things and I was applying for opportunities at the same time. And then I decided, after when so I decided to, eventually pursue a career in microbiology, partly because of COVID-19 and also because I just felt like going back to med school wasn't really a good idea. Also because, of COVID-19 pandemic as of then. I finished in 2018 and did my national service from 2018 to 2019, and that's when the realities of COVID hit. I was building like I had very good career as an environmental microbiologist, but I was still like pursuing, different things in the areas of fellowships, right? I was at the time I was a One Health fellow with an organization in Nigeria that attracted various experts like early career professionals and students from different countries, and then mentors which are experts in different fields. And I was also trying to build my capacity in terms of research writing and ensure that I was able to publish my graduate research, which explored a very important topic on AMR. And I was also going for conferences. And then um, I started applying properly for scholarship, and in 2021 when I felt like I had a very good profile to get scholarship. So the first scholarship that I applied for that I was really serious about was the Rhodes Scholarship to study at University of Oxford. And I was a finalist, but it didn't work out. There were limited funding for that. And that's also something that you come across when you apply for scholarships. The rejection always comes. And it's a matter of you trying and keep on trying without giving up. So when I applied for the Rhodes Scholarship, got to the final stage, which was a fantastic achievement, by the way, but didn't get the scholarship because the funding was limited. It was at that time it was just for 2 people, and they were smart. I think 15 people in the final stage. Well, but this was a very good thing that I really, appreciated. I decided to apply for other scholarships like the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. But I knew about Erasmus Mundus a very long time ago. I just didn't know how to apply for it. So I decided to, start, um, studying Erasmus Mundus scholarship, checked every possible information I can about Erasmus Mundus scholarship, starting from YouTube videos to watching like scholars experience like we are having here today, going to the website of the programs I was really interested in, and exploring these programs. But most importantly, I realized that I also had Erasmus Mundus scholars in my network. So for example, like I was part of the International Students One Health Alliance, and I was an educational committee member at the time. And I realized that some Erasmus Mundus scholars in the infectious disease and One Health programs were also part of this association. And we've done a couple of things together, like serving as panel in a One Health hackathon. So I reached out to them as well to learn more about the program. So information is also a very important aspect of the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, getting proper information. So, when I gathered this, I settled down. I realized Erasmus Mundus has hundreds of programs. Right now, it's over 200. And at that time, you could only apply for 2. Right now, they give you the option of applying to as many as possible. But at that time, you could only apply for 3, rather. But right now, they give you opportunity to apply to as many as possible. But I knew what I wanted, and I knew that 2 programs fitted my career perspective, and I really understood it. I felt like I was very eligible for these programs, and then I applied for both programs. And applying for those both programs, I got in. And that's my personal experience with getting the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So when you apply, you get the eligibility will be checked. So are you eligible? Is your application complete? In cases where your application is not complete, you can get a message, because I know there was a time where I actually got an email to submit a document that I didn't submit right. And that's like the proof of residence for one of the programs I applied for. So I had submitted my bank statement as proof of residence. But it's a document that you could just get from your local government or from your workplace. If you're in Lagos, there's a document called LASRA, which also serves as proof of document. Something that just shows your address. And then I did that. And then so the so then I submitted right document, and then after you complete your application, the next stage is the interview. So the interview, all you just need to demonstrate is your knowledge for your knowledge of the program, your passion. Clearly demonstrate your passion, and also also convince the selections committee that yeah, you are really interested in the program and you know what it offers, and then you understand how that is going to impact your career positively. Um, So I think I'll be sharing my slides on, I have a presentation here and I'll be sharing my slides. I think, so as I said earlier, today we'll be talking about Erasmus Mundus success stories, lessons from scholarship winners. And I'm Iyola, and here with me is Rafiat. I should be talking soon. You don't mind, I'm just the one talking. So we are both Erasmus Mundus alumni. Um, I did the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Program in Leading International Vaccinology Education, which is very long. It's called LIFE, but it's a Vaccinology Masters, and she did the European Masters in Public Health, which is a double Masters program, and she'll be discussing more in depth about our experience as well and a program. So, but I'll just try to like discuss the importance of developing academic excellence. So basically, what is academic excellence? And I know this is a very um, uh, rhetorical question. We all know what it is. So academic excellence just refers to the consistent pursuit and achievement of outstanding performance in learning, critical thinking, and intellectual development. But I also believe that academic excellence is beyond earning high grades. So when we think of academic excellence, what we think about is, oh, first class or a 2-1. But I just think what it really encompasses is a commitment to curiosity, discipline, and lifelong learning. And why is it really important to develop academic excellence? Many scholarships require strong academic performance, especially Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. And academic excellence show dedication and potential for success. So if you have a first class, it just shows that you can excel in your in anything, basically, in any rigorous task. I think that's what it demonstrates. Although if you don't have it, it also doesn't mean that you won't excel, like if you don't have a first class. But it just demonstrates that, you have that capacity or propensity to excel, but you can also accomplish, you can even do better if you don't have a first class. And I'll explain that shortly. And then good grades increases your chance of even getting a job. I know what actually helped me to get my first job was having good grades from a good university as well. Um, and I just showed on the screen some Erasmus Mundus programs and how they usually emphasize, having good academic excellence. So these are very interesting masters. It's called IMIM, or International Masters in Innovative Medicine. So you can see here, I highlighted one of their admission requirements. It says a proven record of academic or extracurricular excellence, e.g., GPA, research experience. And I'm very happy that they didn't just talk about academic excellence, but they also mentioned the extracurricular excellence as well. And then in this other masters, the International Masters in Sustainable Drug Discovery, they also mentioned that, next to the scores for the online test and bachelor or master GPA, further ranking is based on educational background, and they wrote the criteria 5 out of 9 with emphasis on organic chemistry, statistics and mathematics, and so on. The curriculum vitae, which is 2 out of 9, and the motivation letter. So even though academic excellence is part of the criteria, there are also some other things. So this program really wants, like, for example, specific backgrounds in field. So perhaps you've not even had a first class or a 2-1, and I know their history of Erasmus Mundus scholars from 2-2, getting the scholarship, even at times where first class students have also applied, but they will still get it. So, but let's say, for example, that you had good grades in these courses, you could spotlight it on your CV or even emphasize it in your motivation letter that you've developed good grades in the specific courses that they're prioritized in these masters, for example. So this is also the importance of, looking through the application procedure. And as Rafiat will discuss soon, different Erasmus Mundus programs. So Erasmus Mundus scholarship is not one thing, it's hundreds of things, and there are different programs. So different Erasmus Mundus programs have their own different requirements. And here also the Europa Belt Masters program, which Rafia did, also talked about the educational credentials, having good marks, classification grades, distinctions obtained in previous training as part of the evaluation criteria. But you could also see that other things add up to the evaluation criteria. For example, Rafia didn't have a first class. She had a very strong 2-1, but she was the only Nigerian selected in her cohort for that year, right? But I think some of the other things that really helped her, for example, was her professional experience. She had very strong track record in the field of public health. And what they even said is added value for the student to graduate from this particular program and motivation for the second year specialization, which she had a very strong motivation for as well. So academic excellence beyond, having a first class degree, some of the things and all the things I've said there is just like a perfect summary, or maybe not so perfect, but almost perfect summary of the experiences that have been shared by previous Erasmus Mundus scholars. And some of the things they've said is, doing massive open online courses has really helped, right? So to supplement their education, this is something I personally did as well. I know when I was applying for my program, I attached over 50 certificates of several massive open online courses from Coursera, from edX, FutureLearn that I did, which just to also show that I'm really interacting with my field. I'm very passionate about what I want to study, and that's why I'm exploring these courses. And it's also good to build research experience. And the way you build research experience, even after you've graduated, is to, start internships. I know some people that would, after they've graduated, endeavor to work with, serious research institutes in the country, or you should, do some lab work. Some people would remain in school as research assistants and work with professors that are really adept in research, assisting in their projects. You could also engage in volunteering to develop your leadership skills. So, for example, I know some Erasmus Mundus programs that are focused on humanitarian. There's one program like that. It's called NOHA, and it's on humanitarian action. So if you're applying to programs like that, you could volunteer for, organizations that are influential in the field of humanitarian aspects, and do some of these things, start interacting and engaging your field. If you're interested in vaccinology, you could volunteer as one of the vaccinators, community vaccinators in your field, also to demonstrate your passion to that field. And these are ways to even develop your leadership skills, your communication skills, your teamwork. It also shows your very good community service as well. um, and attend conferences and workshops. And COVID-19 was actually a very good time to do this very well because we're all at home and many conferences became virtual. That also increased accessibility to these programs. In fact, international conference. I remember one of the first, I was serving as the ASM, that's the American Society for Microbiology Young Ambassador to Nigeria. And one of the benefits of that as of then was that I would have opportunities to attend their conferences in the US, which I later did 2 times. But during the COVID pandemic, I was almost not sure of attending because of the problems with visa. But when the conference became online, I could attend, and it was even bigger because at that time it's called World Microbe Forum, and both ASM in America and the European firms, that's Federal European Microbiology Society, created a bigger conference, and that really exposed me to a lot of network as well. That really worked well. So these are things that you could do if you could attend both local and international conferences. That would be great. And you could also join academic and professional societies to stay informed and connected in your field. And that's what I did early in my career, to the point that I became the young ambassador to Nigeria, to the point that I've been able to serve in different capacity with the American Society for Microbiology, to advance microbial sciences, to the point of even getting an award for that activity as well. So these are things that would really, really help you, and that would also demonstrate your passion beyond, first class. And these are also what I consider academic excellence, not just the grades. Yeah. So why do I have this slide? So so I think the reason why I've put this slide is just to emphasize what I've said, right? So you can see this program, and I don't know this program, but it's obviously an Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters program, but I don't know what STEPS means. And that's something you'll come to know during Rafia's presentation. The Erasmus Mundus have funny names, um, but they are real masters, trust me. So what they said is the selection process is based on a total evaluation of the following: university grade points average, coursework related to the program, motivation letters, working experience, references, and educational background. You may be called for telephone interview as a supplement. So, but what does this emphasize? This emphasizes that even if you don't have a first class, there are other things that would add up to the evaluation of the masters you're applying for. So it's really important to focus on all those other things. Learn how to write. Learn how to write motivation letter to be able to demonstrate your passion. But how do you even write motivation letter for something you don't really understand? So it's also good to do your own research about the program you're applying for. It's very, very important. And even this other program called QEM, I also don't know what that means, but it's an Erasmus Mundus Masters. I just decided not to check. It says any relevant publication, dissertation, or project work, if any, as part of their most important criteria. So yeah, they said degrees obtained, certificate of proficiency in English, transcript of records, etc., and reference letter. So these are other things that are important as well. And finally, I like how this program did it. The 𝐒𝐿𝐴 Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters. They did it in a very good way. They wrote the criteria, and they wrote their weighting and the maximum score you can obtain. And you can see that the maximum score is not even in excellence of education, which is academic excellence. It's in, your coherence of training and scientific background with the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 curriculum. So it means that if you understand the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 curriculum, you've perhaps done some massive open online courses that relates to the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 program, which I think is related to energy or something, energy systems. It would give you more grade than even academic excellence. And even if you write a very good statement of purpose, reflecting reflecting on your experience and how it relates to that program, you could even get more points than someone that has a first class, in fact. So, and some other things as well, the letters of recommendation, they added it up, they showed it, how this would add up to the weighting of the evaluation criteria that they have, and the maximum score is 150. And then I just want to mention something about research and publications. So I was very fortunate during my time. So I've really participated in very interesting research activities that had helped me build, my experience in research writing, and also had the opportunity to get published. And what I just want to say is that doing research, my undergrad research was an original research which got published in a PubMed index journal. And then I did a couple of public health research as well. And how this helped me was I got a very good track record of publication in credible journals, I would say. But this is not traditional for many students. So I think at the time when I was applying for these scholarships, I had about 18 publications in international journals. But this is not the norm. Let me just say it. Don't try to force having publication, because I've seen students doing it wrongly in recent times, and it can impact you negatively than positively. What I just want to say is that it's really important to conduct meaningful, well-designed research that solves real-world problems. Don't just jump into anything. Is this even related to what you're passionate about? Is this related to what you want to study in school, or what you're keen about, building skills and experiencing? And prioritize quality over quantity. Strong research matters more than many weak papers. So even if it's just one publication you have, but that is really published in a very top journal, it adds more, credibility to your profile than just having several, research in several research articles in different journals. And practice scientific writing to communicate findings clearly and effectively. One thing that Rafiat and I did very early in our stage, in our early career stage, and we're still early career professionals, by the way. But one thing we did very well was to attend conferences and training that built our research skills. So we could, we learned how to write properly. We learned how to communicate clearly. We did several online courses on this and even attended conferences that helped us to develop these capacities. Avoid predatory journals at all costs, right? So predatory journals are those type of journals that are not indexed in I would say PubMed or in the proper scientific indexing platforms. You see Simago, some people say Scopus, and all they just want to do is they'll publish anything and they won't go through peer review. So peer review is also very important in research because whatever you're putting out there, something in journals, it has to go through rigorous peer reviews by the experts in your field to also give feedback on how that can be improved as well. So always ensure that you publish in peer-reviewed journals is really important. And ethical, high-quality research strengthens your credibility and scholarship prospects. Unfortunately, if you publish in peer-reviewed journals, if you publish in predatory journals, right, that wouldn't give a very good signal to selections committee. They'll just think that you don't have integrity, and that would not. You think, oh, now you have a couple of publications, but it just shows that you are not doing it right, and that may impact you negatively, and also your chance of getting a scholarship. I think this is where I'll stop now and give the floor to Rafiat to also share experience and give an in-depth overview of the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship.
Thank you very much, Yola. I'll take it up from, it's my turn. My name is Rafiat, and I am very excited to be here and to talk about the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. So I have this, I have 16 more minutes, 26 more minutes to discuss, and I'll be starting with my own experience about scholarship application and also how I got into the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. I have a background in nursing, and I am also a public health nurse. So that means that I have a professional license and registration to practice as a public health nurse. And right from my practice, I've already known that I love the public health aspect of healthcare. So at the time I was making my decision, I already decided I want to be known as a public health nurse. So right from school, I started building my profile gradually. Unfortunately, I was able to attend conferences where I saw people who have done a very good thing about their professional life and their career, even from their undergraduate level. So then I knew that there's no excuse. So I started with learning how to write academically, because I think that's the most important thing when it comes to applying for scholarships, especially competitive ones. I did that, and I also was able to build more experience. I did some volunteering, which Yola has explained very extensively. I volunteered, I started attending conferences, I started understanding how to present papers in conferences, how to actually conduct research and all of that. So by the time I was undergoing my National Youth Service, I already had publications, I already won some international grants. I was already speaking at international conferences. I was doing a lot of community service when it comes to public health, and I really, really focused on the public health aspect of my career as a nurse. So, and I was also fortunate during my youth service to be posted to a community hospital. So I was very loud about what I was doing in that hospital as well, which I felt like projected me towards winning 2 scholarships. So I won the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, and I also won the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship for the Europe Public program. And I think that in the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 catalog, I think that in the Erasmus Mundus catalog, I think that the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 program and the live program are the most competitive. They have thousands of applicants, and like Iola said, even though academic excellence is very good, it's not the only one that matters. So I did quite a lot before applying for the Erasmus Mundus program. And for a very competitive scholarship like that, I would say it's a whole lot of hard work and dedication and a whole lot of intentional efforts to get such scholarship, and also winning the Commonwealth Share Scholarship as well the same year. So I think that's my short background of what I did. So I'll be sharing slides on what the Erasmus Mundus catalog, the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship really is, and how can you secure one. So my presentation is going to be about the in-depth overview of the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. And this is coming from me as an 𝐒𝐿𝐴 alumnus. I completed my 𝐒𝐿𝐴 training this year with distinctions, and I also won some awards during my graduation. So that means that even if you have not graduated with the first class, you can do a lot going forward. So the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters is one very funny masters, and I'm going to be making some comparison between how Erasmus Mundus works and how the Commonwealth Share Scholarship is. I won't focus on the Commonwealth. The focus here is on Erasmus, but just to show you how different scholarships actually work. So the Erasmus Mundus Masters is typically a 2-year masters, and it is funded by European Commission, and it is usually coordinated mainly by many European universities. So that means that, so in my own situation, I did European Public Health Master. I went to the University of Sheffield, and originally I selected the Maastricht University in the Netherlands, but I changed my track to go to Jagiellonian University in Krakow. I'm going to also mention how these things work along the way. So it's 120 CTS. So that means ECTS is European Credit Transfer. So that means that you are typically working for a 2-year double master's degree with 120 CTS. And secondly, it is open to students globally, and there are fully funded scholarships available for top applicants. So that means that for instance, in the Commonwealth Share Scholarship is open for students from Commonwealth countries. This isn't so for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. In my own case, as an Erasmus Mundus scholarship awardee, I was the only one from Nigeria and one of the 3 from Africa. And we had students from North America, South America, Asia. So typically the Erasmus Mundus, even though it is Eurocentric, it is European focused, they are hoping for students globally. And I think that also makes it more competitive because it's not specified to a region. People from different places, from different countries will apply. And that means that the selection will be based on quota. So that means that every region of the world will have a quota. So in Africa, we're just 3. That means in North America, South America, they have their own quota as well. And usually the application periods vary, but they open between September and December, with deadlines between December and March. Currently, the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship is open. They've got a lot, I'm sure they will have a lot of applicants going on now. It opened last month, and it will be closing January next year. So they usually have, I think for the Europe program, usually have a very long application window, which to me is a disadvantage because it means that a lot of people, it makes it even more competitive because it means a lot of people will have a lot of time to apply. But that also means that you can also have the time to strengthen your application. You can have the time to put in the best of the best that you can as you apply. I think that the live program too will be open very soon. We'll see. So, like I said, the Erasmus Mundus catalog is a massive scholarship or a massive funding body. In this catalog, you can see over 200 masters. The Erasmus Mundus currently funds 226 master's degree, all within Europe. You can also check, just type Erasmus Mundus catalog online and you see this information. And one funny thing about the Erasmus Mundus funding is that the masters, they usually have funny names. And I think that the most direct one is the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 one, because 𝐒𝐿𝐴, I mean, European Public Health. But you see, like, 𝐒𝐿𝐴's master's is leading international vaccinology education, which is live. You would also see infectious disease and one health, which is 𝐼DOH. Here you see theater in social, participatory arts, community, and educational context. They are all joint master's degree, sorry. They are all joint master's degree. But one thing about the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 masters is that they do not have a straightforward name. So if you're looking for a straightforward name, don't expect to have, like, maybe if you want to check for an Erasmus Mundus masters, you now type maybe mathematics. You might not see, even though there are a lot of masters that's around mathematics, but you might not see one. Even if you type public health, you might not see public health, even though there is 𝐒𝐿𝐴, but it might not actually bring it out as public health. So you have to take your time to study this catalog with how many masters they do have. And that brings me to, how do you want to apply, or how do you apply? First is, you need to gather your documents. I mean, without your documents, you're not going anywhere. First is your first degree certificate or your notification. Second is the transcripts. And thirdly is your statement of purpose, your CV, your recommendation letters, your English language proficiency. And one funny thing about the Erasmus Mundus Masters is they usually ask for proof of residency. And this is not far-fetched because it's a global scholarship. So that means that the proof of residency just shows where you are currently resident from. So that means they'll use that to drop you into a quota, or they'll use that to drop you into a particular region of the world. So if you are showing a proof of residency, that's why you can see even if they've said, okay, for Africa, we want 4 students from Africa, you can see more than 4 students, because if the other students actually stays in UK, even though they are from Africa, they'll be dropped into the UK, they'll be dropped into the European quota, not the African quota. So that means that they usually accept proof of residence. Proof of residence is a very important document to have when applying for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. I think that all of these application requirements are very straightforward. I'm sure a lot of speakers that have talked about all of this. Two things that I also want to talk about is your statement of purpose. Statement of purpose is very essential, and especially with the Erasmus Mundus Masters, because they could be very tricky. They could be tricky in the sense that right from the name, because the names do not have a direct or a straightforward name, you might get confused about exactly what the masters is. For instance, there's European Public Health Masters, which is an Erasmus Mundus Masters. There's also the European Public Health in Disaster Masters, which is also an Erasmus Mundus Masters. So you could have typed public health and it could have brought out 2 masters, but you need to be very careful about exactly what these masters actually want and what they actually deal with. The European Masters in Public Health is strictly public health, and they've got different specializations that you have to choose from. Whereas the European Masters in Public Health in Disaster is strictly how to build public health professionals directly streamlined to disaster management. So that's very, very essential. Secondly is your curriculum vitae. During my own Erasmus Mundus application, they specifically required for the Europass CV, which is quite different from the normal CVs that you have to do. So that means it is very essential for you to read extensively what exactly you are actually applying for and what the requirements are, because sometimes this Erasmus Mundus Masters could be very tricky. So now let's explore the Erasmus Mundus catalog. As you can see, as I've said, the names are very tricky. So this is an example. This is SARENA, Safe and Reliable Nuclear Applications. There's also one, MSc in Safe and Reliable Nuclear Applications. This is also the SARENA, and I've put the link in there. And one other thing that I would also want to talk about is the Erasmus Mundus Masters. They usually, even though they have funding, but they have funding period. This is because it is a continuous funding. So that means that each of those masters will have to apply for funding to the European Commission. And sometimes these masters might lose their funding, or they might not actually prioritize their funding each year. So it is very essential for you to see. Go onto the Erasmus Mundus catalog, like I've showed you. Just type Erasmus Mundus catalog online, and then you see all of this information. But key thing to also look out for is if the particular masters is currently being funded by the European Commission. So I'm also going to give an example of the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 program. I joined the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 program in 2023. So that means my cohort is 2023 to 2025, because Erasmus masters are 2-year masters, double master's degree. Unfortunately, the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 program lost the funding for 2024 to 2026, and then they got the funding back from 2027 to 2030. So it is also very essential for you to specifically see, once you get onto the Erasmus Mundus catalog, first check if they are currently being funded by the European Commission. So this is an example of how you know. Here it says start date 2023, end date 2030. So what this means is this particular masters currently has funding. The funding is definite for 2023 to 2030. They might still renew the funding from 2030. But it just shows that if you apply for this masters, you are in safe hands, because they currently have funding from 2023 to 2030. So if you're applying for the 2026 intake, you will be within 2026 to 2028. So this is currently within the window of their funding. Another one is the infectious disease and One Health. So when you look at the start dates here, the start dates here shows 2019 to 2025. So that means that if you apply for this program, you won't be funded, because they do not currently have funding. Because if you apply this year, you'll be in the 2026 to 2028 cohort, and there's no information about 2026 to 2028. The funding lasts from 2019 to 2025. They might still renew the funding, but currently they do not have funding for this program at the moment. I mean, the European Commission do not have funding for this program at the moment. So it's very essential to see this particular information when you are searching the Erasmus Mundus catalog. Another thing to also talk about is when you apply, you should apply via the program-specific websites, not to the universities. And I'm going to give an example. The 𝐒𝐿𝐴 scholarship took me to University of Sheffield in the United Kingdom, and originally to the University of Maastricht in Netherlands, but I changed to Poland. So when I was applying, I did not apply to the website of the University of Sheffield. I didn't do any of that application. Instead, I applied via the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 website. So if you check the program, you have to make all of your application via the program-specific websites, not to the universities that you are applying to. So even if the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 program has said you are going to the University of Sheffield, you are not expected to apply to the University of Sheffield portal. You're expected to apply via the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 portal, the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 website, and then you now see all the applications to the universities that you want to apply to, and then you go through the process stepwisely, not to the university itself, because you are applying for a particular program that takes you to those universities, and not particularly as a student or as a local student in universities. And then this is just like the live program, which is the vaccinology program that Iola did. And like I said, they usually open around this time. So the live program is opening 16 days from now. So you can take notes if you're interested in vaccinology, start preparing your applications. And then it is also good to, another thing that I also want to talk about is the program structure. Each of the Erasmus Mundus Masters have different program structures. For instance, some are track-based and then some are not track-based. For the Europe program that I did, the Europe program is track-based, and what this means is that you have to choose a specialization. So this is like an example. For the Europe program, there are different specializations. Either you are specializing in leadership in European public health, which will take you to the University of Sheffield, and to it will take you to the University of Sheffield and to Maastricht University in the Netherlands for the leadership in European public health. Or if you want to specialize in governance and health economics in public health, the governance and health economics in public health track will take you to the University of Sheffield and Jagiellonian University Medical College in Krakow. This is what I ended up doing. So I ended up specializing in health economics as a public health professional. If you are interested in environmental health in public health, the environmental health in public health will take you to either the University of Sheffield or the University College in Dublin and 𝐒𝐿 School of Public Health in France. Actually, all of this information will be explained in detail in the websites. I'm just saying that some of these masters are track-based, like the Europe program, where you have to specialize in a particular area of your field. So even though you are doing a master's of public health, you are also expected to specialize within a field of public health. Whereas some programs are not track-based. Some programs are full vaccinology, like your last program, which is like a vaccinology program. That one, you don't need to choose whichever school you have to go to, or you don't need to choose which area of vaccinology you want to go to. They did 3 masters. They did masters in immunology, infectiology, and vaccinology. So you cannot choose. You have to go through all of those. So those are the 2 things. So sometimes because when people see the Erasmus Mundus Masters, they get confused about, some programs you have to choose your school and some programs you don't have to choose. It's because some programs are actually track-based while some are not track-based. But all of it are actually Erasmus Mundus Masters. It's just that they are quite diverse and they could be quite different. So this is just like an example of how the Europe track go. So this is Foundations of Public Health, where you can either choose from or any of these schools. And then in the year 2, you have to specialize from either health sciences management, advanced biostatistics and epidemiology, health and environment, public health data science, leadership in European public health, or you choose the economics of health systems in transition, which I ended up doing. So there are different useful resources which I haven't talked about on this space. And because the Erasmus Mundus program is a lot. There are about 226 masters. And if I have to start talking about all of them, it's going to take a lot of time. However, this is like a signpost to useful resources that you might take. First is there's the Erasmus Mundus Association Facebook page. And the Facebook page usually have a handbook of the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. The handbook is very, very useful. This is the Facebook page. If you type this on Facebook, you'll see it. And then you can also request the handbook for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. It contains a very comprehensive tricks and tips of how to apply for different Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, their deadlines, what they actually want, how you can apply successfully. And it's also going to be very useful if you actually want to understand more about how the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship works. But however, my advice would be to type the Erasmus Mundus catalog to see how many scholarships they want and what particular scholarships that you will fit into. And then go ahead to search for this on Facebook and get the handbook for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. Everybody uses the handbook. I mean, a lot of Erasmus Mundus scholarship recipients have been they've used this particular handbook, and it's very, very useful. I'll definitely advise to go for this for more information and resources about the Erasmus Mundus Master's Program. And that's it for me. So this is a program of myself and Iola during Iola's graduation. And this is a picture of myself and Iola again during my own graduation in France. And that's like a certificate for some of the awards that I won during my graduation. Thank you for listening, and I will be very, very happy to take questions. And yeah, we'll be happy to take questions, myself and Yola, and to answer questions as much as we can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honestly, I was so amazed at your stories and seeing how far you have come. It's absolutely so incredible. Yeah, so you can stop sharing your screen now. Yeah, thank you. And a really very big thank you for this very in-depth examples you gave, sharing your stories. I really loved how you were very, very specific. You talked about how you got like 50 online courses, certificates, and you, Rafiat, gave good examples of how like your NYSC you did in the hospital and how that experience you were talking about on LinkedIn, and see how it actually helped you to get this scholarship that you got. So thank you so much for your stories. They were very helpful to me as well, because even personally, when I was applying for scholarship, I did not understand what the Erasmus Mundus was all about. Like, I was looking at the handbook you shared, I was like, God, please help me. But with what you shared tonight, like I really got to see that okay, it's not as difficult as it looks. It's actually very, very helpful. And you make sure that they have about 200 programs like that. That is amazing. So if you're anyone, you're interested in applying for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, like you literally have like 200 opportunities in quotes. As long as they're related to your field, please give it a shot. Thank you very much. I think we'll go straight into the Q&A. But to just give context to some people wondering, Iola, Rafiat. So please, they're a couple, they're married, and I think you have a son. Is it a son or a daughter?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, a son. So can imagine a family of scholars. Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you. Okay, we already have a couple of questions here with us on the chat. And I think we'll just start from the persons that already asked some question. All right, so the first question that we have is from Daniel. Daniel is asking a very good question. Daniel is asking, what was the one difficulty you faced during the process of applying for the scholarship, and how did you tackle it?
Okay. So we'll share these difficulties differently.
Yeah,
I'll start with mine.
What's difficulty?
You'd start with yours. I wouldn't say difficulty like that. I'll just say confusion. So one of the first confusion was in terms of how do I want to do my CV. So like I said, the Europe program specifically, they specified using an Europa CV. And there's a lot of distinction between academic CV, especially with scholarships, and how do you want to, do all of that? Because I've seen a lot of people talk about 2-page CVs when it comes to applying for scholarships and all. However, the CV that I actually want to use is like 7 to 8 pages. So I did email the scholarship committee about how long CV, or how long do they expect the CV to be, and they were like, oh, you can put as much as they have. And I said I currently have like 7 to 8 pages, and they were like, that's all right, you can use your 7 to 8 pages CV. Which was really helpful. And that would also make me talk about the fact that when it comes to scholarship, ask as many questions as you can. The distinction between Nigeria and here is that here there's space for clarity. There is space for asking questions. I think that they'll actually prefer people asking them stupid questions than actually making mistakes without asking. So whenever you want to apply for anything and whenever you are, confused about anything, please send an email to the applications committee. They are always ready to answer you. I mean, my question was very simple. It was very minute. It was just pages of CV, and they responded. I mean, some people would have gone ahead to put in how many pages, 1 or 2 pages, and that would have been a shortfall because with just 2 pages, you might not be able to effectively sell yourself. But I did, and maybe some people don't even know, and they probably sold themselves short, which is a very good benefit to me. So I think that it's not really a difficulty, but yeah, it's just the confusion in there. I think, do you want to share your own
Um,
story?
I I would say like for me, I didn't really go through any difficulty. I would just say that what happened to me was more like imposter syndrome. Will I get in? Uh, and I was just like, am I qualified enough? And this happened to the point that I didn't even submit a CV for the program I eventually did. I forgot. I forgot about it. So it also happens that you might not submit CV and you would still get the scholarship. I think what actually helped is, in fact, the scholarship form also had um, the section where you could put your experiences and all. So maybe that in a way helped my inefficiencies of not putting a CV. So I think the reason why that happened as well was because I was just doubting myself, like, should I submit? Should I not submit? Till I eventually submitted at the last moment. So what I usually tell people is you don't know if you would get it until you apply, but you would definitely not get it if you don't apply. So that's why it is just good to give it a shot. And don't second guess yourself. Make sure you understand the program. That's what I did. I tried to understand the program very well, read everything to the point where I knew almost everything that the program was involved in, and then give it a shot for the 2 programs that I applied for, in fact. One other thing that I would say was quite a challenge is if I should use English proficiency exams or not. There was a program that I didn't use it for, but it's for the second program. I asked them and they said they needed it, so I provided the English language proficiency exam. So not all Erasmus Mundus programs actually require the English language proficiency, especially if you have studied in Nigeria and they accept the fact that you could submit a letter from your university that you were taught in English language. But this is program specific, as we said. You would have to check that requirement from the website of the program you're applying for, or ask the coordinator of the program, and you can always find their contact on the website as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll also quickly chip in the fact that some of the things that actually helped us to have, a safe or less difficult journey was that we were actually very prepared, and we had all of our things we had all of our things ready. So for instance, the very first time I applied for scholarships wasn't as smooth as when I applied for, the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship and the Scholarship Scholarship, which I later got in. So I would say that before you apply, make all your preparations. The first time I applied for scholarship, I mean, the very first time, I didn't have a full transcript. So I ended up going to my school few days to, the deadline of the application. I went through a whole lot of stress and everything. And at the end of the day, all this stress actually accumulates and you're not able to think straight or think deep towards putting in a very straight or a very strong application. So once you know that this year I am actually applying for scholarships this year, put all of your resources together and make sure you have everything in check. Have a checklist, have an Excel file where you are able to put in all of your checklists one by one and tick them all before you start applying. I think that actually helped both of us, and it helped us have, a stress-free application along the way. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Really love the examples you shared. All right, the next question I'm going to be asking is from Mohammed. Mohammed is asking, apart from the Europub Health, which other ones exist, and is the process of application the same?
Yeah, so I think we already answered that on our presentation slides. So there are, as we said, if you go to the Erasmus Mundus catalog, you would find all the programs there. An interesting thing that I like to talk about is that many scholarship programs are always in STEM. Maybe science, technology, engineering, mathematics. But Erasmus Mundus programs, goes beyond STEM. There are also programs in arts, social sciences. So if you're interested in cinematography, they have master's program in cinematography or even music or even creative arts, like lots of interesting master's program. So all you just need to do is go through the catalog. And one thing I used to say is the best way to actually use that catalog, they don't have a very good filter, I would say. And so if you type, for example, let's say you've studied a master's in you want to study a master's in performing arts. Then you type performing arts or masters in performing arts, you just see zero results. But that does not mean that they don't have master's program that you could find interesting. So just what I did, even though I knew the two programs I wanted to apply for, just for curiosity and also because I had lots of time to spend in Lagos traffic, I went through all the master's program on the catalog, like just for my own information. So, and that really helped me to see that, oh, there are like lots of masters, but you also cannot decipher the what the master's program offer if you don't read the information about it. So you see some funny names like okay, like let me give you an example of the life. So if you hear education, like from my own understanding, after a program, it means that program is focused on education. Like maybe we have biology, right? And then we have biology education. In Nigeria, that's the impression we usually have. Oh, but my program does not have anything to do with education at all. It's just that they wanted to have a very nice acronym, right? So, like live, just something that they can call easily. That's why they have, such creative acronyms for different programs. So if you find that, okay, vaccinology, you find interesting, or even my program, even if when you look detailed or deep into it, you also see it goes beyond vaccines. There are also like really interesting things in immunotherapy. There are also very interesting things on even like project management, communications, but relating to the field of vaccines, right? So it's also good to check the program websites and to also see what the program offers. All the websites have similar pattern, even though they are different. So you could just see like the program course content, and you could see that okay, this actually offers joint masters in these areas, and this is a course content based on the countries that you go to and the universities you go to. So that will give you a very good exposure. So there are many programs, depending on your field of interest, you will find very different programs there. So it's
All
not
right.
just belts. It's lot of
Thank
things,
you.
like lots of things, like I used to say.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. This next question is from Chidi. Chidi is asking, does Erasmus Masters accept WELS evaluation? WES.
I can answer this based on someone's experience that I heard. So one good thing is that Erasmus programs is also open to HND students, to HND graduates. So we know that dichotomy, and this is for the Nigerian audience. I know people might be joining, so they wonder what HND is. So HND is Higher National Diploma, and it's also an undergraduate degree that is offered in Nigerian institution, mostly Nigerian polytechnics. So, but in Nigeria, there's still that dichotomy that exists between HND and BSc, right? And bachelor's degree in general. So in fact, I know that at the time, I don't know if that's still the case. If you have an HND, you can't even do a master's program. You would have to um, do like maybe a postgraduate diploma, and that would offer you the opportunity to do a master's program in Nigeria. But the good thing is that, from the Erasmus Mundus Nigerian page, we've seen so many or a couple of people that have HN that go into Erasmus Mundus Masters, and that's where the West evaluation comes in. So some of the experiences they shared, and in fact, someone that got into a program, my own specific program, some years after I got in, he has an HND. And when I was asking him, oh, how did you do it? So he said he added the West evaluation, and that's very funny. Because West evaluation is usually for maybe Canadian or US institution. But I also think maybe West evaluation also adds that layer, because I've seen a West evaluated transcript before, and I know it has that layer of saying, okay, this is equivalent to a bachelor's degree. So if you have evaluated your ND and HND together, it shows that, okay, this is equivalent to a bachelor's degree in the US. Maybe that also gives some very good information to the selections committee that you've done a 4-year bachelor's degree, and that's good. But one thing I really want to say is that your West evaluated degree does not erode your transcript. So even if you're adding that West evaluation, make sure to also add your original transcript. Don't just add the West evaluated transcript, because that's not your original transcript. So you can just join it, match everything together and attach that. But I don't see any reason why you should use a West evaluated transcript if you have a bachelor's degree, and you have a very good transcript that explains all the courses you've done. Also to prevent confusion. But people have done many different things, and I'm just talking from all the experiences of these people. So and I would also put that caveat that this is also very program specific. You won't know if it would work unless you apply, or maybe you ask from the specific program that you're applying for. And what Rafia just said is, there are no stupid questions. If you are not sure about anything, they are always happy to attend to your inquiries.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm really glad. I'm really very certain that most of the HND holders, will be glad to hear this, because when we started the bootcamp, they were asking, oh, is there any of the scholarship here that would be suitable for an HND, holder? So this
I
is
just
good
want to
news.
jump in that there's a massive rise in HND scholars. Even we've seen cases of people sharing
Amazing.
experiences getting into fully funded PhD offers in the US with an HND if they do the West evaluation. So
Wow.
this HND should not be an encouragement. If you have distinction, if you have good grades, definitely consider your HND as a full-blown bachelor's program degree as well.
Awesome. So please, every HND holder listening to this is good news for you. And so do your best to go get the Wells evaluation. These people, they just want to know if what you did in your HND is equivalent to what you're looking out to pursuing. And if the Wells evaluation is going to give you that edge, please go ahead to do that. And as you do that, give this Erasmus Mundus scholarship application a shot as well. Thank you. That was really a very good eye opener. The next question we'll be asking is from Emeka, and I think we'll have to run with the speed of light at this time. Emeka is asking, how does one maneuver the English proficiency test? And if it is wavered, how does it affect one's application?
Yeah.
So I think that this question is highly program specific. Some programs might waive English language evaluation and some wouldn't. I'm going to give an example as well. Sorry, I'm going to use the Republic again. Initially, during my own application period, if you're going to University of Sheffield, you need to have an English language evaluation. That's compulsory. But if you're going to Dublin, if you're starting your first year in Dublin, you necessarily do not. But this time, it is now compulsory that everyone has an English language evaluation done. This isn't so for Iola's application. So when he was applying for the live application, was it live?
Yeah.
Where you didn't use, so he did have a TOEFL, he did have a TOEFL results. However, he didn't use that. So And that's because, he asked the selection committee and they were like, oh, it's not compulsory. So I think that before you make that the answer to that question is very program specific, I would say. Some programs will not really mind if you don't use an English language specification, whereas some programs are very, very specific on using an English language tests, giving, your English language test results and stuff like that. So I think it also boils down to asking because, the programs are a lot and what happens in each program is quite different. That's like, we're talking about over 200 programs here. So please ask and check the websites again. However, if it's not compulsory, I would say if you have it, put it in. But if it's not compulsory and you feel like your application can fly, you can also, skip it. But if you do have it, I would say go for it always. Like attach your English language testing.
Yeah. To follow up with that question, Emmanuel is asking in light of that, like, can English proficiency be skewed from people who studied in a US university? Does that apply for someone?
Yes, for Europe
For
public.
Europa Belt, yeah.
I think it's also stated on the website that if you've studied in some certain countries that are considered English speaking,
Yes.
in which US, UK, and some other
Okay.
countries are included.
You
So
don't,
if you even if
Okay.
you're from Nigeria, you don't have to
don't need it.
provide
Yeah.
English language exam.
Oh, perfect.
That's specifically for the Europa Belt. For
Okay.
life, they didn't ask for IDOH because even though Rafi had said if you have it, provide it, I'm of the opinion that if you have it and you can avoid providing it, avoid it because I strongly believe that Nigeria is English speaking, so we shouldn't have to. I think we are even better English speakers than some residents of English speaking countries. So if we can totally scrap the requirements, it will be very useful because we study in English in all of our institution in Nigeria. So so I usually try to ask, does this really matter in the application? So for life, they said no, no, it doesn't. Like, well, for IDOH, it was compulsory, but it was conditionally compulsory. So they said that if I had graduated, like they still use that 2 year criteria for my graduation. So they said because I had graduated like 2 years after, then I have to provide it because English language exams are valid for 2 years. So that's
Okay.
why used the exam for that.
All right, perfect. So in doubt of any like requirements or documents, so everyone listening to us, just, like we said, these people are actually very accessible. You can send them an email to ask questions directly to them and you'll get your answers. I'm going to answer this question from Mohammed. Mohammed is asking, can one apply to 15 different opportunities and for such, will one have different CV, motivation letter, etc.? The answer is yes. If you're applying for scholarships, it's wise that you apply, strategically. And one of the ways to apply strategically is by having different CVs, especially if, their criteria for each of the opportunities are different. It's just wise. And of course, for the motivation letter, I'm very certain that for every opportunity you're applying for, the criteria for each one of them might not be exactly the same. So I know it's a lot of work, but of course it's what really makes you stand out. So we really advise you to tweak your motivation letter to suit the particular scholarship you're applying for.
Yeah, and don't apply for 15, please. Yeah, I think 1 or 2 is fine. Yeah.
One or two?
Actually, I would say you diversify as much as your capacity can, and
I will
as
actually
much
say that
as
as well.
yeah, and as much as you feel you are actually qualified for. Because if you're applying for 15, it's a lot of stress, a lot of struggle. If that 15 is going to make you not give a very quality application to, all of them, don't go for as much as 15.
Yeah.
But if you know, well, if you're strong,
It definitely wouldn't help you to give strong applications if you focus on maybe 3, because 15 means you would have to get recommendation letters 15 times.
I think the 15 could work when I think you could also expand your stuff with scholarships like Commonwealth Share Scholarship, whereby you
Other
could
types of
apply for
scholarship as well.
different schools and everything. Because Commonwealth Share, I mean, if you have a similar motivation letter, since you're applying
Oh,
for
yes.
courses, then you can do as much as you can. But that's for Commonwealth because you can your stories can still be similar because it's under one scholarship application, but applying for different applications take time. And if you can't give quality applications, if it's going to deter you from giving quality applications for all the scholarship, doesn't worth it to me.
Yeah, so I think the number is going to depend on you, the person. So like we've said, quality application is what like will really make you stand out. I'm still seeing a couple of questions about English proficiency test, but I think I will have to skip it because we're really running out of time because we've already addressed that. So I'm going to ask this question from Uwa. Uwa is asking, I want to ask, can we use statement of results in place of original certificates if you are yet to take it from your uni? And for online application before the deadline, do you submit your SOP or after? I tried applying and I'm yet to see a section for that. And she's asking different questions, but I think let's address this one first.
Well, yeah. So if it relates to Erasmus Mundus scholarship, then that will be based on the program. I think I'm not sure, and I can't say because I've not gone through all the 200 programs. There are new programs, in fact. So
Okay.
yeah, there are some new programs there. So maybe some programs don't require SOP. So it's good to check the websites to see they actually don't require, but I'm sure some programs in fact require like video presentation,
Yeah.
right? You have to do a video to state your motivation. Some programs would ask for portfolio. I've seen a program like that asks for a portfolio. Like I think it was engineering-based program. So if you have like some codes and some other all those things provided as well, like GitHub and all those things. So it's good to just check and confirm that they actually don't
Yeah.
require SOP.
So
For programs like mine, they don't actually require SOP in the context of SOP like life. They actually just ask essays. Like so they have 4 different essays and they will ask you to answer one. So, for example, they can tell you, apart from what you've provided in your application, what other thing do you want the selections committee to know about you? Or they'll ask you, do you know who has inspired you in the field or something like that? Or how will the program enhance or improve your professional development? So, these are like different things. For some programs in their SOP or motivation letter or personal statement, whatever they call it, they would actually list the things that they want you to mention in those programs, maybe like your academic excellence or what aspect of the program do you look forward to or something like that. So this is very program specific.
yeah,
And
so I
we,
think
we keep saying it is program specific
yes.
because we don't want to what confuses many people is that they always think Erasmus Mundus scholarship is one thing, right? But it's a lot of things. So it's like different programs, different selection criteria, different academic requirements, but similar system, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what UWA can do is you can send an email, like we said, to that specific program, to clarify if you could send like your statement of results or your certificate to them.
Yeah,
Um,
so for the statement of results, I think it can work because I've also seen like so there was a guy I knew about that got the Erasmus Mundus scholarship and he has not yet graduated. So far you can provide that certificate. I think your transcript is even more important than certificate for scholarship, but you must provide the certificate at a point in time. So far you can provide that certificate before you graduate. Or like sorry, so far you can provide that the certificate after you graduate or after you get it before you start the program, I mean, right? So
yes, perfect. I think we would have to really run because we're literally
yeah.
a few minutes before we end. This question is about publication. Owa is asking, and for publications, there's an invitation to write a chapter for a book from a reputable journal, but not in your area of field. Is it a deviation?
Um, why would you even get invitation to write a book chapter as an undergraduate or as a bachelor degree? It's most likely not credible, in my opinion. How do you know it's reputable? So don't honor such invitation. I would say because most of those invitation comes from predatory outlets. Um, And if it's not your field, why do you want to write it? So it means that you don't even have the, authority to write in that field. Yeah. I hope that answers that.
Hopefully. Next question I'm going to combine these two questions. This question is from Deem, and I'm going to combine it. And this question is from Rose. Please, I want to ask, I studied botany. Can I transition into information technology or STEM? I studied English. I want to know if I can apply for something else for the master's.
Yeah, I think for transitioning, everybody at one point, I mean, a lot of people actually transition in their career at different points in time. The transitioning will now depend on you. How strategic are you when you want to transition? And I believe that if you want to transition into another field, you need to have a knowledge base of that field as well. What kind of courses are you doing? How are you building your expertise, and how are you building your experience in that field? So I personally, I am a fan girl of career transitioning. You can transition at any time, but then you need to do that very strategically. And I think that in terms of, transitioning, a lot of things, a lot of, experiences actually combine. Like, I don't think a particular field stands alone. As long as you can relate your experiences to wherever you're actually transitioning into, that's completely fine. Iola here has a bachelor's, he has a background in microbiology, and he went into vaccinology masters because he was able to develop his skills, build his portfolio in terms of vaccinology, and he was also able to transfer his experiences in terms of how it fits into those programs. So if you're transitioning from English to another field, or you're transitioning from a field to the other, you need to have a solid knowledge of why you are transitioning, what you want to do for you to actually transition, and how you want to do that strategically. So by all means, please, yes, you can.
Just watch out that the program you are transitioning into does not demand that you graduate from specific disciplines.
Discipline, yeah.
But I know that also for some Erasmus Mundus Masters, they are open to students from diverse disciplines.
And one funny thing, even with the 𝐿POBEL program, the 𝐿POBEL program now has a specialization in data science, and you are seeing people from computer science background getting into the 𝐿POBEL program, as long as you're able to connect dots and to see how your experience actually fits into those programs. I think it depends on how intentional you are and how well you can sell yourself in terms of what you already have and what skills you already have and are building on. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think this is a follow-up question from Owa about the publication. She said the publication is a previous publication and it's a Springer journal. So I think concerning this publication, whether you accept or not is actually dependent on you. Yeah. Or does anyone have anything else to say about the publication, or should we go to the next question?
I would say that if it's not your field, don't write it.
No, I think the publication is already written. I mean, the publication is done already. They have actually published in a Springer journal. Abi, that's it, if I'm right.
She said she got an invitation.
Is it like she got an invitation, or she has already published
She got
it?
an invitation to a chapter for a book.
Okay.
For a reputable journal, but not in your area of field of interest.
Yeah, so that's not your, like, the answer. The question says the answer. It's not the area of your specialization. Why should you write it? What do you want to write?
I would also think that the decision will depend ultimately on you.
Yes,
If you are
honestly.
comfortable writing that, even though if it's not in your field, well, you know your capacity well, and you know what you can do. So if it's something that you can do, well, yes. But I think that what you just need to watch out for is the credibility of the journal. If it's a Springer journal, that's fine. But even Springer is a very big name, so you need to be sure that it's actually indexed on that Springer. That's one. Two is, who are you going to be writing that book chapters in? Please have a background check of those people. Be sure that wherever you are, you are attaching your name into is actually, they are also very great, credible people. So I think that ultimately, if you're comfortable doing it, go for it. But just be sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, and you can actually, give a backup of whatever decision that you have made. You can give an explanation of why you have made that decision. So yeah, I wouldn't
Awesome.
discourage you.
Yeah.
I'll discourage because we've also seen some journal articles, book chapter, like book, a whole book retracted in reputable journals.
And that's why you have to do a very
So,
good background check of what
I
you're
so
think
getting
we
yourself
and
would
into.
have
that's
to run to the
because they are
next
not
question.
based on,
Yeah,
Time.
yes,
yes.
right? They are not based on the right evidence. So, yeah.
Mm. So yes, thank you very much. I think we have to run because we're literally like at the time we should wrap up. This question is from Andrew. Andrew is asking, is there an age limit for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship? Just a yes or no, so that we can
No,
ask the next
no,
question.
no, no.
No, okay. Next question is from Praise. Praise is asking, must the CV be an European CV, Europa CV? What if I have a standard academic CV?
No,
No,
it doesn't
it
have
doesn't
to
have to
be.
be.
I'm just saying that the Europe application require Europa CV, so you have to be sure of their requirements when it comes to all these things. But no, they are all program specific. Be sure of whatever CV they have requested from you during your application. Yeah.
Always good to provide Europa's CV because that's what they recognize in Europe.
Okay. Thank you. The next question is from Baka. Baka is asking, I'm currently applying for the Europop Health, but they want that one shouldn't include anything. He has no document that confirms it. How can I do with the issue of the sports? And it's another question. How can I do with the issue of the sports section because I am not into any form of sports? Would that limit my chances?
So the sports section of the Europe Belt application is very new to me because I don't think they asked for that. Um, However, if you are confused about how you want to do it, please ask because at this point I can't because the way I mean it's new to me as well, so I wouldn't know how to actually answer that. I think they've changed the application portal or something, but if you are in doubt of anything, please ask. I mean, has the
Ask the
section
program
program
coordinator.
coordinator. I mean, the one thing about Europol Belt is their program coordinators are very, very responsive. They will respond to you. So, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. This question is from me, and I don't know if other persons in the group have it, but I just want to ask. Like the Commonwealth Masters, they have like the interview phase. Does Erasmus Mundus have like an interview phase, and what is the process after the application? What is like the next step to like, for example,
Yeah.
actually winning and all of that?
Yeah, so for the Europe program, they started interviewing last year. So after the application deadline, which is like January, you get called for interviews sometimes around March, and then you get selected based on the interview criteria. But of course, you need to make sure that your application package is very well suited before you can get into the interview stage. The interviews, I'm just going to give a tip based on the Europe program. The interviewers are going to be they are going to be people from your second year specialization. They are going to be people, if you are doing a track-based program, usually your interviewers are going to be people that are within that particular specialization in which you are applying for. So take note of that and be sure to make sure that you are preparing your interview based on whatever specialization that you are going into. So I'm just going to keep it that short because of time.
But for my program, and for some other programs, they ask you technical questions as well. So you should be ready to answer questions like what is a vaccine, how is it formulated, and all those things. Or a question in immunology. And most especially, they also want to assess your understanding about this program. So because you are traveling to different countries on that very short time frame, they also want to know like your interpersonal skills, like if you like the idea of going to different countries and if you understand that that program can be can be demanding to that nature as well. And then your understanding of the structure of the program as well. So I think that's the general thing about the interviews for these programs.
Awesome. So I also wanted to ask, where is there like a fixed venue for the interview? Is there like a fixed
It's
No.
usually online.
It's usually online because
online?
because people are applying. It's a global scholarship, so people are applying from different places. So it's all online.
Perfect.
You
That's
have
good
to
to
sit
know.
in a panel.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask this question from Temitope. Temitope is asking, what about we that don't attend webinars, workshops, or internships? How can we make up for this when applying?
Start
Start
attend.
now.
Start now, like, and even if you don't attend, I don't see why you shouldn't attend like webinars or intern. You're already in a webinar, so you are doing well already. But you have to know the current trends in your field, right? To also be able to, understand your field better and think outside the box of what you were taught. Because most of the times, what we're taught in an undergraduate is not usually sufficient for us to have like very good understanding of our program, of our programs and our career outlook. And this also helps to build relevant networks as well. So, but if you've not done all those things, right? Because some programs will specifically ask it, like Erasmus, like the Europabel program, like what are the international experiences that you have and all those things. But if you've not started doing it as well, just know that these are things that you need to build upon. And then talk about the other amazing things about you, right? That stands you out.
All right, the next and final question is from Timmy Lane. Can you address the use of AI in your application? How can it make or mar your application, especially the essays? And I think this is also following up with the question Awa just asked. Awa is asking, can one use makeup pictures for CV?
Makeup pictures.
Well, I think that in terms of makeup pictures, my professional picture too, I did like a little bit of maneuvers and everything. As long as it's not heavy, yes. Just make sure that you're formal and you're presentable, just as you look when you're going for a formal interview or if you're working in the formal sector. Yes. No heavy makeups, no excessive stuff that throws you off. Secondly, in terms of the use of AI, AI is I think within Europe, there isn't like a very big disagreement in the use of AI. Use AI, but use it respectfully and use it intellectually. It depends on how you're actually using the AI. If you are using AI to amplify what you already know or to amplify your knowledge, do it. I don't think within Europe, I don't think they actually frown against AI, but it just depends on how you're using it. If AI is doing your thinking for you, people can sense when you have used AI. People can sense when AI has been, AI has taken like 80% or 90% of your thought process. They can sense it. However, if you're using AI, AI is a very large thing. Even Grammarly is AI. There are so many things. AI is a very big thing. But if you're saying in terms of ChatGPT and stuff like that, use it respectfully, use it to amplify your work, but don't let it do the thinking for you. Can I use AI in my application? Yes, I can use AI to, suggest how well I can improve my application. I can use ChatGPT to tell me what particular areas do I need to strengthen in my application. I can use AI to look at the program, let it do my work. Let it do let it reduce my stress. But I won't use AI. I won't use ChatGPT to tell me. I won't use ChatGPT to write my statement of purpose or to tell me, okay, this is my CV. Write a statement of purpose for me. I won't, because reviewers have been reviewing a lot of applications and they can know if your stuff is AI written. But I can definitely use AI to say that, oh, this is what I have written. How does it completely suit the program? This is what I have written. How do I improve on it? Or this is my CV, this is my SOP. What do you think I am missing from the picture? I can use AI for that. So, it depends on how you use AI. But generally in Europe, to even make your work faster, use AI, but think about it when you use AI. Yeah.
I think, so the University of Oxford, in fact, provided AI for their students and staffs. So ChatGPT, Edu, and from all the seminars I've attended, if you use AI, especially for academic writing, you have to declare that you've used AI. And what Rafia said is spot on. If your idea of using AI is to tell ChatGPT, I'm applying for Erasmus Mundus program, help me write my SOP, I don't hope you get into that program, in fact, because that's not honesty. That's not academic honesty. And that would not help you in any way, right? So if you must use AI, you don't use it to plagiarize. So that's plagiarism, in fact. So what I think you should use AI for is just what Rafiat has said. Use it like to critique your work. So you must provide that work and don't use it beyond trying to correct maybe grammatical error or context in your writing. Just like we used Grammarly in the past. And as she said, the Grammarly is also powered by AI. So you just correct grammatical error and all those things, but don't use it to write your SOP.
Awesome.
And
Thank you
also, I
so much.
wouldn't even say that AI won't know your experience as you are. AI cannot tell me. AI is not my life. It is me that can tell my story and how my story actually fits into the program. AI does not know.
Yeah.
No matter what. AI is not
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah, and I also want you all to know that people want the scholarships even before ChatGPT came.
Exactly.
So
We
the
actually
whole
were going
wave of
to
ChatGPT, this ChatGPT that, it really makes you just sound like the crowd, you know. So for you to just stand out, just write your story, and like Rafiat and Yola say, like, it's your story, it's your life. AI has not lived your life, and AI cannot write the story of your life. Well, thank you so much. This has been a very, very impactful session. I, for myself, I've learned a lot, and the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship has looked less scary. Thank you for breaking it down to, very easy to understand steps, and we're really so grateful. So we're going to be wrapping it up now, and I would like to ask one final question to our speaker. What is the advice you would give to someone who wants to apply for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship? The final advice to someone who is still thinking, who is still on the fence, or, yeah.
I'll say shoot your shots. And don't sell yourself any less. Yeah, I always feel like people who have done incredible things in their lives are humans like me and you. And if they can do it, I can too. And I think that's it. And also do not overthink it. Because thousands of people are applying, it doesn't reduce the fact that you should apply as well. So yeah, go for it, shoot your shots, and be as excellent as you can. Do the best that you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, so my advice is understand what you're applying for. I've seen lots of people say they're applying for specific programs, and then you just ask them some basic information about what they're applying for. They don't know. So they like the idea of getting a scholarship, but not the idea of doing the work. So you have to study the websites. The information there is for you to understand the program, the structure, the countries you are going to, what you are going to explore. And that's the only way that you can, motivate your interest to the program. If you don't understand it, you can't do anything excellent, really.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Can we drop some chats on the YouTube page, yeah, on Zoom as well, to just say a very big thank you to our scholars. Honestly, this has been very, very insightful. This has been very incredible. Yeah, so today was week how many now? Oh my God, like this is literally like an 11-week boot camp. That is, it's so hard to count the number of weeks now. But today was like the webinar 4, out of webinar 6 of the Scholarship Bootcamp, and I'm very certain that every one of us here who attended got something very valuable. As we wrap up tonight's webinar, I'm just going to give a quick run through to the last 2 webinars that I'll be having for tonight. But as I'm doing that, don't forget to drop a very big thank you on the chat. I'm seeing a lot of thank yous on the chat. Pearl is saying this session was really impactful. Thank you so much. Samuel was saying, Samuel is asking another question. We finished asking questions, Samuel. I'm sorry. We have to move on. Maro is saying, thank you so much. Indeed, this has been enlightening. Emeka is saying, very incredible session. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'll be going straight to talking about our next webinar. And our next webinar is holding on the 16th of November. And the topic is how to secure research assistant positions in the United States. We'll be having a very highly reputable scholar coming to speak to us, just the way we've had very reputable scholars, speaking to us tonight. And for the first few weeks of the webinar, we're going to be having Friday Utoya coming to speak to us on the 16th of November. Remember that the bootcamp is once in every 2 Sundays. So now we're giving you time to go ahead to apply for the Erasmus Mundus. There are already a lot of them opening right now, and it should be ending around January. So you have enough time to not procrastinate, but to actually take action. So if you're just hearing about the Erasmus Mundus, This is your shot to go and apply. And also, we're going to bring in a research assistant to come tell us about how to secure research assistant positions in the United States. And we'll be wrapping up on the 30th of November with the final webinar for the bootcamp. We'll be having two scholars and myself, making it three of us, come speak to us on different topics entirely. For example, we'll be having Good News is an Alan and Nesta Ferguson scholar come to speak to us about the scholarship application red flags and how to avoid them. I'll be speaking on how to discover uncommon and unpopular scholarships. David Michael, a Commonwealth Master Scholar, will be talking about building resilience in your scholarship application journey. I believe this is something you do not want to miss. It's something that you don't want to take you don't want to forget. So as usual, all our webinars are already scheduled here on our YouTube channel. So ensure you go to our YouTube channel to click on the notification bell, and don't miss out. If you're applying for any of the scholarships, you are free to go and watch the YouTube channel over and over again. And just get to understand and imbibe all the ideas and insights that our scholars have shared in the webinar. And yeah, we'll be really excited to get to see you again on the 16th of November for our next webinar. So some activities will be going on our subgroups. Remember, we have the intermediates, we have the beginners, we have the achievers group, just to keep you engaged throughout the bootcamp and to help you get to ask questions, to your group leaders, get to interact with other aspiring scholars, and to help you make the best use of the bootcamp. So thank you once again for tonight's webinar. To our scholars, thank you for honoring our invitation and coming here to share your story, your experience, your insight, your strategies, what actually made you win. Like, you literally gave it to us for free, and that is something that we do not take for granted. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining. We'll be sharing the Instagram post on our page, on our WhatsApp link, so that you could go thank our speakers on Instagram as well. But till the 16th of November, I remain your host, and I'll be happy to see you engaging in the subgroups, and making the best use of all the insights and knowledge you have gotten from the bootcamp. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Whoa! Thank you, Iyara. Thank you, Rafia. That was